Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and a review of the new TWSBI Aurora. The box is kind of the normal eco box, except obviously the black sleeve with the gold kind of TWSBI logo there. Same kind of deal on the end, standard stuff there. Slide that out. You can see the green liner, which is different than the red one they use for the Eco. Open it up, sort of same standard TWSBI warnings. You'll notice that this one comes with the metal wrench instead of the plastic one due to the metal components in the mechanisms. All right. So, I think the biggest thing people are wondering about is the size comparisons, since TWSBI did not list any dimensions or anything when they were putting this pen on the website. So I think the closest comparison is the VEC 700. Very, very similar length. The Aurora is maybe consistently wider. The width of the caps, Aurora maybe slightly wider again. The VEC kind of has that taper. So if it didn't have the taper, I think it would be pretty close. The other probably closest one is the 580. This one's an ALR. Little smaller, little narrower diameter, similar length. And we'll just run through some other ones here just so people can have an idea. Eco, again, yeah, much smaller. The body of the Go is maybe, the Go is not tapered either, but this wide part up here is probably very close. Of course, the plastic on the Aurora is much nicer, overall better made. For a sort of standardized pen, that's a Safari, larger than the Safari. There's a Noodler's Ahab, which is a large pen, and it's larger still than the Ahab. Let's see. I have a Noodler's Neppen set, which is again a very large pen, and yeah, about the same. The finial on the Neppen set makes it a little longer, but as far as girth, diameter, I'd say it's very similar to the Neppen set. I got a couple Kaweco Sports. Obviously much bigger, but just to sort of get an idea. Even posted. And the TWSBI Mini, of course, again, much larger than the Mini. All right. So one of the first things I noticed, which I like, get these out of the way, the finial there is engraved, as you can see, instead of the kind of the standard, TWSBI finial with the red. I think obviously a much better choice aesthetically, since it keeps the material, and a similar trend on the engraving on the cap band there. I don't know if it's laser engraved or if it's some kind of mechanical engraving. The clip, as you can see, is a kind of a dark, it's a black. I don't know if you'd call it sort of a chrome black, but it's definitely darker. It's sturdy. I don't think it's going anywhere. Much different than the normal chrome clips or even the kind of brushed finish on the 700. They really kind of went out of their way to have the aesthetics of this pen sort of be that higher class, which I think helps to justify the price point. Okay, thing people would be curious about is the number of turns to take off the cap. So just over one turn, maybe 1 1/8, 1 1/4. Nothing too crazy. The material, as you can see, is this acrylic. It has a lot of iridescence. Maybe doesn't show up the best on camera, but it does. The light really plays off it. It really looks cool. I'm a big fan of green. Obviously, if they did this same design in other colors, I think many people would go for it, especially purple, which is kind of a hole in TWSBI's lineup. It's sort of opaque. It's not really showing up on camera, but if I hold it up to the light, maybe there a little bit, you can see it. I can see kind of the piston mechanism. I can't really see the ink sloshing around even under naked eye and under the light. But they do include an ink window there. I have Schiefer's Peacock Blue in there currently. I should have put a green in to match, but I didn't. The nib is different in color than the 580. Same size, but it's a darker finish. I have, here's a nibby unit off the 580. You can see it's kind of a black or dark gray finish. It really looks good with the pen. People have asked about nib swapping. I think if you were to unscrew the section, the threads, I tested it fits, but it doesn't necessarily fit properly. The section is, slightly shorter or longer. I don't know, whatever. It's different. But if you were to pull this entire collar out, same thing. Nib and feed would fit just fine, I think. Probably the best thing about the Aurora, and I think something that addresses a lot of concerns people have about TWSBI, is how they used metal inserts. So I think one of the biggest issues with TWSBI pens failing is obviously the plastic cracking, and I think that's due to stress put on from the threads. So the cap, instead of having the threads cut into the plastic, there's a metal insert there, so that should be much more durable. And as you can see, there's no external cap band as there is, on the normal VAC 700. So that won't put any stress on the plastic itself. And the threads on the body appear to be metal as well. I'm almost positive they are. And then you can see here, maybe, there's an insert for where the piston screws in, and that's metal too. So all of these sort of mechanical things are riding metal on metal, so the plastic won't be affected whatsoever, which obviously is a problem with TWSBI. And I've had tons of TWSBIs, never had a problem with it, but I think that should help ease any fears that anyone might have about getting sort of the highest end TWSBI. Posting, I do find it to be postable. It's pretty secure. Much better than the 580, and obviously the VAC doesn't post at all. Balance wise, I can take or leave posting. I don't think it hurts it really. It's not it doesn't really make it too back heavy or anything, but either way, still, big enough, writes well. The grip section, I think this will be one of the better features. The taper it's bigger than the VAC 700, and we don't have that sort of, this deal where that large step that people don't like. It's much more gradual, and also sort of a fit and finish thing. This part right here is much smoother. It's kind of, I don't know, beveled or chamfered a little bit, much more so than the 700, which you can see is a much sharper edge. So just, in the hand, it feels better than the VAC 700, and I think that would be a concern for many people. The grip size itself, yeah, it seems, and feels bigger to me than the 700. The Go here obviously has kind of the triangle thing going on, and it still feels a little smaller. The Go does than the Aurora. Aurora feels larger, maybe more comparable to the 580. Yeah, a little larger still than the 580, but very comfortable. The material feels good. Personally, I don't necessarily love the texture on the 580. So I like that it's all the same material. I don't, even on the normal AL, the smooth texture can sort of be an issue sometimes, but the plastic, it feels really nice, really warm. Yeah. So I weighed the Aurora, and this is maybe not the most scientific as they both have ink in them, and also the VAC 700, and the weights came out to be the same. I think if they were both empty, the Aurora would still be slightly heavier. And I'm, after the video, I think I'll empty them and update it. But I think because of the ink capacity of the VAC, that might be sort of the difference. I weighed them both 36 grams as they sit now, so I have a mostly full fill in the Aurora and maybe half in the VAC. So 36 grams are about 1.3 ounces. Yeah, it has some heft to it, but it doesn't necessarily feel heavy. There are metal components, but it's not primarily metal, so I don't think it's overly heavy. I think it's, long and short riding will be just fine. I think TWSBI really did well with the value on this pen, and the fit and finish is definitely noticeably better. Even with the transitions here between the piston and the rest of the body, the end cap, very smooth, very polished. I already talked about this section between the body and the threads, much smoother. This, is a really premium pen, and obviously it's the top of TWSBI's price range. I paid $108 included. That was with 2-day shipping in the U.S. So I know people have talked in other countries about expensive shipping, and that's certainly an issue. But I think this definitely punches above its belt as far as value for money. I think if this said Pilot or Sailor or whatever, Pelican right here, I think 250 or $300 easily, even with a steel nib. A pen that I have that's probably sort of similar priced, Pelican 200, 205. I think obviously much smaller pen, and for me, the biggest feature, even on the Pelican, everyone agrees, these are pretty well made and longevity. But the threads again are plastic, so you're riding plastic on plastic. Shouldn't be an issue, but TWSBI has had a history with their plastics, and I think that's really what sets this apart for the TWSBI line, is that the metal inserts. I think that really helps justify the price point, and I think it's certainly a good value. Thanks, guys. This is the first video I've ever done. The Aurora inspired me. If you have any other questions, let me know. And thanks for watching.